Welcome to Sci-Fi Tales Adventure. 4 thrilling sci-fi stories and cosmic adventures. Subscribe now. She mocked his weapon, if you can call it that, until one precise strike shattered her armor and pride. The training ground echoed with the clash of steel and the laughter of soldiers. Lady Arvin, champion of the High Guard, stood tall in gleaming armor that glimmered beneath the sun. Her halberd rested easily in her grip, a weapon of reach and precision that few in the kingdom could withstand. Around her, recruits whispered her name with awe, and veterans bowed their heads in respect. Today, though, her eyes fixed on one man, a stranger, thin and plain, standing at the far end of the arena with a weapon so small it looked like a broken relic. A short, jagged blade. Barely more than a dagger. Arvin's lips curled into a smirk. "That," she called across the sand, her voice sharp enough to draw chuckles from the watching crowd, "is your weapon? If you can call it that." The man did not answer. He simply raised the blade in silence, his stance loose, almost careless. The crowd laughed. Arvin's pride swelled. She would humiliate him quickly, show everyone why she was the kingdom's chosen warrior. "Very well," she said, lowering her halberd into ready stance. "Try not to bleed too quickly." The first clash. The signal horn sounded. Arvin lunged, her halberd whistling through the air. The stranger stepped aside with ease, his movements calm, almost lazy. She struck again, faster this time, steel flashing like lightning. Again, he slipped away, the edge of her weapon biting only dust. The crowd chuckled at first. Then they frowned. Her attacks grew faster, sharper. Yet every strike found only empty air. The man did not counter, did not strike back. He only moved, as though waiting for something. Arvin's smirk faltered. "Stand and fight, coward," she barked. His eyes flicked to hers, calm and steady. For the first time, she felt something coil in her chest, an unease she hadn't known in years. The moment of precision. Her frustration grew. She swung wide, her halberd arcing for his shoulder. And then he moved. It was nothing grand, nothing flashy. A single step, a flick of his wrist. His jagged blade struck like a serpent, not against her flesh but against the joint of her armor. Crack. The sound rang across the arena. Arvin staggered back, stunned, as a piece of her pauldron split apart, shards of steel tumbling to the sand. The crowd gasped. Her armor, crafted by the finest smiths, proof against sword and spear alike, had been broken in one precise strike. And the stranger was not finished. Shattering pride. Before she could recover, he struck again. Each movement was surgical, aimed not at her body but at the delicate weaknesses in her armor. A second blow, crack, her gauntlet split. A third, snap, her greaves bent under the impossible angle of his strike. Arvin stumbled, her breath ragged, as the weight of her pride crumbled along with her steel. The audience was silent now, their laughter gone, replaced by stunned awe. She looked at him, fury and fear mingling in her chest. What are you?" For the first time, he spoke. His voice was calm, unshaken. "Someone who does not need a grand weapon. Only the knowledge of where to strike." The fall. Her fury boiled over. She screamed and charged, halberd spinning in a deadly arc. She was fast, fierce, unstoppable. Until he stepped inside her guard. The broken blade rose one last time. It struck the clasp of her breastplate with pinpoint precision. The armor burst apart, falling from her shoulders in shards. Arvin crashed to her knees, her halberd clattering uselessly beside her. Silence consumed the arena. The champion of the High Guard, the woman who mocked his weapon, now knelt unarmored and humbled before him. The choice. He stood over her, blade at his side. The crowd held its breath. Would he finish her? Would he claim victory with blood? But he did not strike. Instead, he lowered the blade. "Your armor was strong," he said quietly. "But it made you blind. You thought yourself untouchable. You forgot that pride is the weakest point of all." Arven's chest heaved. For the first time in her life, she felt shame burn hotter than anger. She could not deny it. He had defeated her, not by brute force, but by stripping away everything she thought made her powerful. And he had spared her. Transformation. In the days that followed, the story spread across the kingdom. The champion humbled by a man with a broken blade. Many mocked her. But Arven remembered his words, the calm in his eyes, the precision in his strikes. And slowly, she began to understand. She trained again, not with heavier armor, not with sharper steel, but with humility. She learned to fight without pride clouding her sight. She learned to see not just strength, but weakness. And when she sought him again to ask his name, he only smiled and said, "Names do not matter. Only what you do with the blade you carry." Epilogue. Years later, when Arven stood again as commander of the guard, she wore lighter armor. She taught her soldiers that strength was not in weight of steel, but in clarity of mind. And always, when she thought of the day her pride shattered, she remembered the man with the broken blade, who showed her that the greatest victories are not won by weapons, but by precision.